And joining us now is Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia. He's a member of the Budget and the Foreign Relations Committees. Thank you, Senator, for taking the time. Let's start there with the budget. Trump's big, beautiful bill cuts $880 billion in Medicaid funding. What the Trump administration claims is waste, fraud, and abuse. Notably, it would also add work requirements for recipients, and it bars undocumented immigrants, they say, from getting coverage. Explain your concerns about these provisions specifically.
Yeah, look, I think this big, sick bill, the Medicaid cuts are going to be one of the real flashpoints. The Republicans say they want to add work requirements. Anna, who gets Medicaid? Huge percentage of Medicaid recipients are children, disabled children who use Medicaid to get the wheelchair they need to attend school. Our parents and grandparents in nursing homes, pregnant moms. More than 50% of births in this country are compensated by Medicaid because the mom is low income. So what, we're going to put children and seniors in nursing homes and moms on the verge of delivery, we're going to impose work requirements on them? Are you kidding? And then who's left in Medicaid? It's disabled adults. We're going to make them undergo a work requirement. The estimates are this will remove millions of people from the Medicaid rolls. Democrats are going to fight this tooth and nail.
And let me just follow up, because the White House keeps pushing this line that undocumented immigrants shouldn't get Medicaid coverage paid for by the American people, and they're saying that's some of what's going to be saved here. Do you disagree with that thinking?
I don't disagree with that thinking, except that they're lying that that is who is going to get hurt by these Medicaid cuts. The people who are going to be hurt by Medicaid cuts are not undocumented immigrants. It's American citizens who are children, pregnant moms, seniors in nursing homes, and disabled adults. And we're going to make sure for many of these, this is a life and death matter, and we're going to make sure that they're protected, do all we can to eliminate these Medicaid cuts.
Can you just clarify for our viewers, though, do undocumented immigrants get Medicaid coverage?
I am unaware of that in Virginia. I represent Virginia. I'm unaware of it. But I do know who gets Medicaid coverage because I travel all around Virginia and I go to meetings with citizens where they are deeply, deeply worried about these Medicaid cuts. Remember, Anna, they tried to do the same thing in 2017. When they voted to eliminate the Affordable Care Act, they went farther and tried to eliminate or dramatically cut Medicaid. And the halls of the Senate were filled with people receiving Medicaid, American citizens who are going to get hurt, including the little lobbyists, children in wheelchairs who came to our offices and said, do not take away my wheelchair. It's what I need to go to school every day. We're going to see the same thing happen if the Republicans persist in this Medicaid cut effort.
This bill would also cut SNAP benefits by roughly $300 billion by 2034. We know that you're against that provision, but how do you communicate to voters that your party can remedy this situation? There's this new CNN poll that finds just 19% of voters believe Democrats can get things done.
Well, we have to prevail on this. I'll give you, let's use SNAP as an example. About 800,000 Virginians receive SNAP benefits. That's nearly 1 in 10 Virginians. If the House plan were to pass, 200,000, 1/4 of them would lose their SNAP benefits. What is a SNAP benefit? How much do you get a day? I met with a group of SNAP recipients yesterday in Virginia. They get about $4.50 a day to feed themselves. That's what a SNAP benefit is. And wait, we're going to cut that? Are you kidding? And so, look, we just have to communicate to the public what this program is. And it's not only about the recipients, it's about the farmers who grow the food that go into the SNAP program. It's about the grocers. The National Grocery Association says the House SNAP cuts will cost 17,000 jobs in the grocery sector. So if we got to do a good job of communicating this, but I think we're going to be able to, because as you know, this reconciliation process ends up with a series of amendment votes where we can make it real clear. Do you want to cut that much out of SNAP at the same time as you're deepening the estate tax giveaway you give to the wealthiest? If you take away the estate tax giveaway, you don't have to cut SNAP at all. And we will be posing very stark choices like that the American public can see. And I know which side of this question the American public's going to be on.
Senator, in that same CNN poll I just referenced, just 16% of people believe the Democratic Party has strong leaders, compared to 40% who say that about the GOP. If you're to look inward, why is that? What do Democrats need to do differently?
Well, let me look inward and tell you, I represent a state that 20 years ago, everything was Republican. We hadn't gone Democratic in a presidential election since 1964. And since 2008, we've gone 5 in a row for Democratic candidates. We win 2 out of 3 statewide elections. Both U.S. senators are Democrats. We have a Democratic majority in both of our houses. We're not a blue state. We do have a Republican governor, although we're going to remedy that in November. I keep trying to convince my colleagues, if you want to understand what we need to do as a party, why don't you look at the 2 states that have had the biggest red to blue turnaround in America in the last 20 years, Colorado and Virginia. We do it in Virginia by being economy first. We're make, build, grow people. We beat the Republicans on the economy, and then we already have people's trust on everything else. And that's what the Democratic Party needs to do nationally.
One thing Republicans seem to use as a tactic to project strength is don't admit mistakes, don't show any weakness, double down, triple down. For example, your GOP colleague, Senator Joni Ernst, she's responding this way after her controversial Medicaid comments. Take a listen to her remarks over the past few days.
They are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
I'm very compassionate, and you need to listen to the entire conversation.
Do you have any
Can you explain
We want to protect the most vulnerable.
And I just want to make sure viewers know that very first video was from the town hall, the initial comments she made when she was being questioned about Medicaid cuts. And she made those initial comments and since has continued to defend those comments. You've worked with Senator Ernst on bipartisan legislation in the past. Does this behavior you're seeing surprise you?
Look, I do think the Republicans are very vulnerable over these Medicaid cuts. And Donald Trump wants them to cut Medicaid, so they're having a hard time, making the counter argument. But I would just remind all of my colleagues, you tried to do this in 2017, and you got your head handed to you on a platter, both in terms of the ACA vote in August, but then in terms of the midterms a year later. Do not mess around with children with disabilities, with pregnant moms, with our parents and grandparents in nursing homes, and with disabled adults. If you think you can cavalierly go after the program that for many of them is their key life support without consequence, you're dreaming.